another week is through and another week is starting. Is it the end of what it was, or is it the beginning of the rest of it? I don't know, 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 I don't know. Could be anything. Who's there? Is it Philip? Hello. It's one of about 5 people because that's who shows up for me. 5 people. That's better than none. Not as many as 6. But it's good. Yeah, hello, hey. Yeah, so it's been an interesting week, hasn't it? It got all really hot this weekend, even though last weekend it was like the coldest since 2000. Hello, Peter Griffiths. It was the coldest since 2013, which is apparently since records began, because there wasn't any time before 2013. But then this week it's the hottest June since records began, which is 2013, because nothing happened before then. Nothing at all. 2013 is the first day of the rest of your life. And do you know why? It's because the Mayans said that 2012 was the end of it, and so nothing happened before that. It's just an illusion. We're in the new times. The new times. Anyway, so what's happened this week? People have resigned in government in Britain. Whoa, it's just like, what? Who's going to go next? They're apparently going to go like dominoes. There's like, oh, well, they're going to make it really hard on the party that they're supposed to serve. Who'd have thought it? That particular party being a little bit ungrateful to the party that they're in and sort of awful to each other. Who'd have thought it? Yes. That's a bit controversial, isn't it? Probably not. Anyway, I don't like that party. Not a lot. Do you like it? No, not a lot. And I didn't like the person that gave up, but let's have no more about that. Yes, hopefully, who knows? I don't know. It's up to him, isn't it? Whatever he wants. It doesn't really, I don't really know what's in it for him. It's like, if you've got a certain level of money, why do you need more money? Doesn't seem to make any sense. If the whole is in enrichment of one's peers and yourself, why? If you've got more than 1 million, then you've got a lot of money. But if you've got more than 1 billion, you've got quite a lot of money, because 1 billion is quite a lot more than 1 million. It's at least 100,000 times more, maybe even more than that. Million billions is a trillion, I don't know. It's a lot anyway, because 1 billion is different in Britain than it is in America, but now they've evened it out, so it's not as much as you'd think. 1 billion used to be more than it is now. 1 billion's not, but it's still a lot. So you can imagine what a billionaire used to be, and now 1 billion is still a lot, but you can be a billionaire with less. So you know, there's 2 of you here, is there? Just Peter and me, and another one makes 3, and that's all that's here. And then we just have some fun. And I've been packing my stuff and trying to work out what do I want to keep, and I want to keep everything, but I can't do that. See, I've got a couple of boxes. I've got a box of all, it's sort of a museum of me that's got all the things that I've ever written, and magazines that I've had articles published in, and CDs of short films I've made, or long films that I've been in, feature films and all sorts, and all of that, and poetry books and books that I've written, and I want to keep that, and notebooks. I've got quite a lot of notebooks and screenplays, all of which has gone nowhere, very much like my life. It's not like I haven't done stuff, it's just it's not quite good enough to get anywhere, and I don't know what to do with it anyway. So that's just my life. So I don't know what to do. I've got quite a lot of stuff. I know that Dylan Thomas had a notebook that he used to write all his poems, and then one day he thought, I'll make some money out of this, and he sold it to a museum, and then he didn't have any more poems because he'd sold all his work and his ideas. Now I've got more ideas than Dylan Thomas, and even less point in them, and I haven't done anything for years. So that's interesting. I've driven everyone away. There's just the one of you. It's a summer's day, isn't it? Everyone's out having a lovely time in the summer sun. So nobody's here for me. So this is clashing really. So I don't know whether this goes. I've also got pink on. All the different colours. just too many different colours. And there's nobody here. It's just one person. Although I don't know, because it never... Two people. So it's really good that you've come here. I don't know what I'm doing. 3 people. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. But I never did. And it's like, you sort of should have worked it out by now, I think. It's like I've tried. It just hasn't... The colours work well, thank you. I've tried, and it just doesn't really work out for me. But then again, I'm thinking, I haven't really tried that hard, have I? Because all the things... I'm doing quite a lot of things. I'm just not doing what I think I should be doing. That's it. It's like the things I'm doing, I haven't really worked that hard for. It's just they've fallen into place. And I think that's actually the way things work. It's like you carry along on a certain way and things fall into place. And they might not be what you wanted, but this is what you've got. But then at a certain point, you're like, oh, that's it. So I'm only doing things this week that are exciting and interesting, whether they're going to lead to anything else. But I'm always like, what's that's going to lead to something else? And it's probably not. But, you should just be grateful for what you've got. What have we got? Not a lot, but be grateful for it anyway. Yeah. So maybe it'll be fine. And I'm going to start collecting names, making a list and checking it twice. Getting people for my not in Edinburgh show, my digital show where I'm interviewing people that are going up to Edinburgh. So I'm going to make a list of that soon and then plan for that. So it's not like I've got nothing going on. It's just I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. If ever I knew what I was doing. To be honest, I don't think I ever did. I'm just sort of stumbling along going, this is something, and then it's better than nothing, isn't it? Stumbling along, doing random things and going, whoa. So I suppose it's just life generally, isn't it? It's not like my life's worse than anyone else. It's not like it's better either. It's just sort of is. It is what it is. It is. That's all it is. I mean, I'd sort of like to be immortal, but I'm like, why would I want to do that? It's like, it's not like anything's happening anyway. But I think it's because I'm not very good at making things happen. So I'm thinking, if I keep going, then things will happen eventually. Yeah? And well, you say freedom. I think the best way to live is to have, very much like Rishi Sunak, so much money you can do what you want and you don't really give a toss. Not good for everyone else. Good for you, probably. Good for you, Rishi Sunak. Not good for everyone else because you don't really have any care or concern for other people. I think the secret to life, actually, is empathy and making sure that, don't sacrifice yourself for other people, but don't sacrifice other people for yourself. That's a happy medium. Make sure that everybody is in the middle. A medium, yeah. So I think the secret is to just think, the golden rule, isn't it? Do as you would be done by. That's the Water Babies too. Mrs. Do as you would be done by. They had lots of names like that in the Water Babies. Yeah, I don't know. Do you not know him? He's the Prime Minister of this country. And has been for 6 or 7 months or something. Ever since the last one lasted a week and a half. And the one before that has just quit altogether. It's like, what's going on? I don't know. I've got no clue. It's quite warm in here. It's hot. It really is. It's like 30 degrees or something. There's been arguments online. It's like, British people make so much fuss. 30 degrees is nothing. Nothing. And, I was like, it's quite humid here. And somebody's like, well, not as humid as India. It's like, no, but India knows what it's getting. And actually, I checked. And although, yes, true, India today was more humid than here, it wasn't as hot. It was a couple of degrees cooler and quite a lot more humid, whereas it's like, so maybe I'm wrong about the humidity because it was actually hotter than India today. So there you go, but not as humid. And I thought it was the other way around. I really thought so, but but I think the infrastructure is made so that everything is in a happy medium. That's the whole country. It's like something in the middle. Like when it gets very cold, everything grinds to a halt. When it gets very hot, everything grinds to a halt. When the leaves on the line, everything grinds to a halt because people weren't expecting it. Things crack when there's cold and the pipes burst, and when it's hot, everyone gets hot and the pavements melt because it's just not meant to be anything except in the middle. Right in the middle. Right in the middle. It's like if there was blizzards in India, they wouldn't be able to cope with that because that's not normal weather, except in the Himalayas. But some parts of India would have blizzards, obviously, because it's a big country. But if like in the hot parts, it suddenly had snowstorms, they'd be like, what? And they wouldn't be able to cope with it because that's not what you're expecting. Exactly, somewhere that's got a drought all the time, you're used to that, you plan for the drought. If it suddenly rains and there's a flood, you go, oh, and it might not be a big flood compared to somewhere else, comparatively minor. But for that particular place, it's a disaster. And that's what happens here. It's like 30 degrees and above. I mean, it got up to like 35 degrees last year, which was like the hottest it's ever been. So it's not as hot as that, but it's still pretty like the last couple of minutes, it's just like, what's going on? Like the last 2 days, it's like, no, because I was wearing cardigans this time last week. I was wearing 3 layers to go outside. And now I'm just like, too much, which is good because I mean all my clothes are falling apart. I was looking at all my clothes. It's like, what clothes do I want to keep? Like, none of these. They're all rubbish. What fits me? Nothing. I'm too fat and all my things are falling apart. It's like, oh no, exactly. I'm in the middle is good for me because it's there. It's like I'm not thin and I'm not fat. I'm in between because that's where all my clothes are fitting. And now if I lose weight, it's a problem. If I put on weight, it's a problem. If I stay the same weight, I can keep the same clothes as long as the moths don't eat them, because the moths have eaten quite a lot of stuff. But otherwise, everything in the middle would be fine. It's like when I lose weight, it's just like, oh no, my clothes are falling off. And if I put it on, oh no, my clothes have burst and fallen off. It's like I'm not one thing or the other. I just don't have enough money to buy one thing or the other. So it's like, yeah, it's a problem if you're used to one thing and then you're like, nah, I can't cope with that. And very much like the weather, most unclement and untimely. And I can't remember the King Lear quote now, but it's like, blow winds and crack cheeks. It's like windy on the moors in King Lear, and they can't cope with that because they're used to palace life. So you see what I'm saying? You need to be in between so you can cope with it, and that's what's happening with the weather. And I've just been like, Frizz, my brain is going too hot. It's heated up. Oh yes, well that thing. There's been people in the news for that, Peter Griffiths, like on tubes and in public places and lying on benches and being arrested for all sorts of stuff like that. Because they're like, well, this is my rights, this is my constitutional rights. It's like, unfortunately, we don't actually have a constitution in Britain, and I think you'll find that people don't like that sort of thing when you do it. So, yeah, you get told off for that sort of thing. You get told off for a lot of things. You don't need an awful lot now because of the laws for creating a public disturbance. It's like, oh, it's stuff, I mean, that's quite far, but stuff that you think, well, that's fine, but you're disturbing the peace now. It's like, no, you're disturbing the peace and you're causing problems. That's not an issue. You can't do that anymore. You can't do anything. You can't even go out and shout in the streets. Of course you can't. You could never do that. Oh look, I found some beech nut husk clusters from the autumn that I found on the floor. Beech nut husk clusters. Yeah. So I don't know what to do. I mean, I've put loads of stuff in boxes and I've still got loads of stuff everywhere. I don't know what to do with any of it. And I'm going to go to Wales on Wednesday, and I'm going to carry a load of things to store in my parents' house. Somebody actually offered to let me store it in an old church that they've got. It's like, well, I'm not sure that it's going to be useful in there because I think the church was leaking, so it just might all get damp. And as most of it's like notebooks and stuff, I want to keep it close at hand, where I can keep it. I keep all my and pictures that I've drawn and all sorts of creative things. As I said, it's a museum of me because it's all about me. Really, it's all about everyone. Everyone should be all about themselves. It's like, this is a collection of me. Does anyone else care? Probably not. But it makes you feel nice, and you can make a little nest out of it, like a little hamster. When you've got nowhere to live, you've got the notebooks of a little hamster, and you go, oh, I wrote that thing, that's interesting. Like, who was it that said, is it Oscar Wilde? I always keep my diary, I need something scandalous to read, or something like that. Something very similar to that. So, yeah. So all my diaries from teenage years onwards. I haven't really kept one for the last year or so. I used to absolutely, completely every night write something. And I wrote so many things. And I wrote poems, and I wrote stories, and I wrote diary entries, and I just kept on doing it. And then the last couple of years, I've mainly played mobile games and watched things on TikTok. And that's what I've done instead of doing something creative. Because the creative stuff didn't actually get me anywhere anyway. And the thing is about doing the mobile games on TikTok, you can get apps that give you like 1 penny for every hour you spend playing it or something. So you can make some money even though you spent more on the power and downloading the app and stuff like that. You probably aren't actually making a profit, but it feels like you are, because I'm like £20 for uploading my shopping receipts and playing games. Oh yes, please. Yes, some of us are looking at the stars, exactly, and the Ballad of Reading Jail and everything. Started to diary, yeah. I do, yeah, exactly, Monica. I like to look back and go, well, because I used to, my teenage diary, I've got little afterwards and notes in the margin, like what an idiot I was here, and then another couple of years later it's like, I don't know why I thought I was an idiot here, it seems perfectly sensible, and then that's like, oh, I can't believe I said that. So it had like, I don't do that so much, but I used to in my teenage years look back at it and go, oh, how embarrassing, and then change my mind again. It's like what the old saying about you think your parents are stupid when you're a teenager, and then you get to 20 and then you go, oh, maybe they're not, and then you get older and you go, oh, what an idiot I am. I have always been an idiot, and so are they, and we're all idiots. Basically, you go back to thinking, yes, we're all know nothings. You come through the other end if you're a sensible person and go, I can't believe that I thought that I was wise, that I thought these other people were wise. None of us are wise. None of us know anything. And that is the secret to wisdom, is knowing that you know nothing. Many philosophers have gone down that road. So it's true. I'm very wise, but am I? Because I know that I'm not. So am I? Yes, I am, but no, I'm not, because I think I'm wise, therefore I'm not. If I know that I'm not wise, then maybe I am wise. But if I think that I'm wise and I'm not wise, then I go down the other side and think, no, anyway. Yes. So, yeah, the wisdom of knowing nothing. Know nothing. If you know nothing, if you know nothing, that's where you've got the sweet spot. Exactly. Yeah, sporadic diarist. Yeah, exactly. It's like, because I've got, this is what I had, the whole thing where I had different copies of, I've got 2 loads of the diary of, I was going to say the secret diary of Samuel Pepys, age 13 3/4. That's a different diary. The Samuel Pepys diary, which is huge. And he kept, I mean, nobody really remembers much about that, except that he buried some cheese during the Great Fire of London. That's the ultimate thing I've taken from Samuel Pepys' diary, is he had a wheel of Parmesan cheese that was so precious that he buried it so it wouldn't burn up in the fire, and then he rescued it and ate it. It's about 15 volumes worth, that, and it all comes down to the cheese, as does everything. It all comes down to the cheese. Even if you're a vegan, it all comes down to the vegan cheese, of which I made some accidentally this week because I was trying to make butter, because I've decided that I'm just going to make butter. I'm not actually vegan, but I made vegan butter, which actually turned out to be cream cheese. So it was cheese. I made cheese. And then I'm like, oh, so I want actual butter. Now, I shouldn't really have proper butter because I'm not lactose intolerant, but I think it's the proteins in it make me go bleh. So, but I was like, nah. So I bought some cheap cream this week because I was outraged. I thought, I'll buy some actual butter. And I thought, shall I look at the prices? And there was a big thing about Lurpak being ever so expensive, and the Tesco special club card price was less expensive, and it looked like it was a good bargain. I was like, oh, shall I buy that? And I did, and then I got it home and I realised that they've shrinkflation. They've shrunk it. It's that much butter. It's like, this isn't as big as I thought, and I was like, I can't believe I fell for that. So I'll never do it again. I'll never have butter again. That's why I make some vegan cheese and stuff. But then I thought, if I buy some cheap cream, which isn't as cheap as it used to be, then I can make butter that way. So it's very easy. You don't need to buy butter, it turns out. You can either make it with coconut oil and vegetable oil and some salt and mix it up. or coconut cream and vegetable oil. Mix it up, and then you get a nice vegan-y spread. Or you get some fresh double cream, stick it in a bowl, and keep whipping it until it's turned into butter. Or you can just shake it up. It's so easy and much cheaper. So that's what I will do from now on, because I'm never going to fall for that again. Especially since the work that I was doing, I was tutoring for the GCSEs, the GCSE exams, which are 2-year courses, and all the people that I was tutoring for have just done their GCSEs. I mistimed it because usually the term time doesn't end until the end of July. I was going to say January, that's a completely different thing. The end of July, and you keep on. If you're in the first year, or if you're younger than that, then the kids keep on until the end of the term. But once they've done their GCSEs, they don't really need me anymore. So I mistimed that. So I was like, oh, I'm unexpectedly free. Unexpectedly free. So they've all finished now because the GCSEs are over. I thought that they were at the end of June. No, they've gone. Gone. So, I haven't really got much on yet now. So I'm going to go back to Wales this week, and I'm going to do a show in the museum where I'm reading Myfanwy Haycock's poems. Myfanwy Haycock is a local heroine. She wrote poems in the 40s and 50s and worked for the BBC and went to art school and did all exciting stuff, and she went to the same school as my grandmother. I think she's 2 years younger or something than my grandmother. There's a picture where everyone thinks that it's her sister, not her, but her sister, and my grandmother might be in it, but they pointed her out to me, my grandmother. I'm like, I don't think that's her. That other person might be her. But I actually doubt that anybody in that picture is any of these people. It's just a group of people. Anyway, Myfanwy Haycock. Ooh, she's famous in that. So I'm reading some of her poems, and my mother's reading some of the poems, because my mother's a sort of local celebrity as well. She used to do all sorts of theatre and stuff in the area, and the local MP and the National Poet of Wales, the Poet Laureate, and some other people are doing readings. So local luminaries. So I'm I'm not up there with Myfanwy Haycock. I'm reading her poems. My dad was like, well, I'm going to make a sign and you have to put your poetry books on sale. I was like, it's not really about me, is it? But you've got to do some networking. So I'm doing that this weekend. That's going to be fun. And then, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm obviously going to do the digital shows in August. So that's a whole month of because I've got things on next week, and then I'm just like, I'm going to plan the digital show. So if anybody wants to do a digital show with the Free Fringe, then you can apply, and I'll put your show on, and we'll list it and stuff. And if you want to be in my show, then and get interviewed about Edinburgh things and shows that you're doing. You don't even have to be in Edinburgh or go to Edinburgh. If you've got a show in Edinburgh and you want to be interviewed, I'll interview you. It's online anyway. But if you're not in Edinburgh and you're internationally somewhere else, but you've got any sort of show that you think is linked, or you're just really interested about the whole concept of theatre and comedy and spoken word and music and all stuff in an international festival, and you're really, really into it, or you're any sort of person that's in entertainment or just vaguely interested, then I apply, then I'll interview you. Or if you've got a show, any sort of show, and you want to be part of the Digital Fringe, then you don't have to be in Edinburgh. You can just put, if you've got like a little short film, or some sort of installation that you've got online. So just any sort of art or theatre or just spoken word, anything you can think of that you think, if you think that's worth showing what you can do to other people, then you can apply, and I'll put you on the listings, and you'll have if it's on demand, then that's one thing, and you can go there. And if it's live, then you can tell me when it is, and we'll put it then. And also there's we've got this Siberia, which used to be like the first internet cafe in Britain, but it isn't there anymore. But it's got an online space that looks like it used to be, and you can go and meet there virtually, so we can do little screenings in there. So that'll be fun, won't it? So do that. Everything's gone really quiet. I can see that you're going, yes, I'm just gonna just apply now. I'm just gonna, oh yes, that's why you're not talking to me. It's because you're applying, aren't you? You're like, yes, I'm going to do. This is you typing away. I'm gonna do this amazing show. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna do a digital show. I'm gonna be part of the Edinburgh Fringe without actually going to Edinburgh. But if you are in Edinburgh, you can do an extra show as well. I'm saying this because we've had some applications, and there's another month and a half to go, so there's plenty of time to put in more. Because unlike the printed book, the website is infinite, and also you can have a 2-minute show, a 30-second show, a 7-hour show, whereas if you are actually going to be live in Edinburgh, it has to be between about 45 minutes and 60 minutes, really, ideally. I mean, if you're doing a double length show, you can do it more, but most of them are about 50 minutes. That's about, and then you've got enough time to get out and another show gets in. You don't get much to churn around. You just finish the show and you're like, and you have to run. And yeah, with the free Fringe, you have to sort of help the people in the show after you, and they have to help you. It's all collaborative and cooperative and all lovely, and you don't get fined for going a little bit over, although you might have some words from the people after you about how you've eaten into their show, and they'll be angry at you, but you don't get fined, but they'll be angry at you, and you shouldn't do that. But if you went over in one of the shows where you paid like 20,000-30,000 for the venue, then you have to pay extra for going over. So that's bad. But if you've got a digital show, you can just be forever and ever and ever. And nobody's talking to me. I don't know why you're not talking to me. Everyone's gone quiet. Welcome to live chat. Anyway, sung before in the dark Marmite cheese is ordinary. I suddenly missed all this. Everyone was talking to me and I didn't see it. I don't know what happens to this chat. It goes all over the place. Anyway, look at this. My hair's gone all wet from being humid. It's humid. That's what it is. The humidity. And it's gone sort of blur. Yeah. Humidity. See, that's what happens. And that's why you need a happy medium. And empathy. And an Edinburgh show. Even if you're not in Edinburgh, you should do it. Do it. It'll be fantastic. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. I mean, I can't really afford to go up to Edinburgh this year, because I was going to, but I was really considering doing the live again. But to be honest, I'm still not over the whole episode, the 3 years where things changed. I'm still a little bit wary about, and we've been doing loads of things lately. I mean, going out and seeing people and doing things and all sorts of things, really, but not as much as I did before. And I really am not quite back into it. So I think the online show is still really where I'm at the moment. Maybe next year, who knows? I don't know. I've got to get back into the swing of it. Surf the waves. I should be really famous by now, but I'm not, because I lack that certain something that makes people famous. That je ne sais quoi. That I don't know what it is exactly. I don't know what it is. I've got no clue, and that's why I haven't got it. If I had it, I wouldn't know what it was anyway. So that's the secret, really. So this is that was a bit wobbly. I won't do that again. Yeah, that's another reason to not have the hot heat. So it's because you can have sleeves if you haven't got the hot heat, and if you have got the hot heat, then you haven't got sleeves, and then you're like, oh no, what am I doing with my arms? Aha. Anyway, that's about me wrapped up for today, and I'll see you next week. I'll be in Wales next week, so I probably need to bring one of these lights or something, because my little ring light that I bought for Wales, specifically for Wales, completely broke, so it'll be dark if I don't bring one of these little lights. So I need to pack something else up. That's one more thing that I've got to carry. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Have a lovely week and take care. And has anybody else said something? No, sung before the Duke of Edinburgh. Yes, sung before the Duke of Edinburgh. Marmite cheese, everything. Nobody's talked to anything. Nobody said anything for 10 minutes, so that's fine. Yeah, see you soon, exactly. See you soon. Have a lovely week. Bye-bye.